Oklahoma history is colorful and romantic, and that history cannot be told without recognizing the contributions of the Christian pioneer. The men and women who homesteaded in what is now known as Del City and who attended Sunny Lane Church are no exception. This little historic church was built soon after the land run on April 22, 1889. As soon as these hardy pioneers had staked their claims and built their bonfires, their souls longed for a place where they could worship God as their hearts dictated. On the Saturday following their arrival, when the settlers gathered to get acquainted and talk things over in a general way, they found they had a common bond in their religion. They were all members of the Methodist Church. It was late in the afternoon, but they decided to build a brush arbor and hold church services the next morning. But in early June 1889, the neighbors gathered on a grassy knoll half a mile south of Southeast 29th Street, adjoining the little cemetery, and built a one-room frame church and furnished it with homemade benches and a crude altar. The following Sunday, they met in their new home for divine worship. The original church was served by Methodist circuit riders. Unfortunately, in 1913, the church burned to the ground. It was rebuilt, but then blown away by a windstorm in 1924. Still determined to have their church, the congregation rebuilt one more time on that same location at 39th and Sunny Lane. On April 12, 1945, though, another tornado came roaring through and destroyed that little church sitting in its path. Sunny Lane Methodist Church may have lain dormant for a time, but it was not dead. In 1950, Del City was being founded by George Epperly, and families were beginning to settle what had formerly been wheat fields. Homes were built, and the people established a city, complete with streetlights, telephone service, and schools. Methodists in this area began looking for a church home and discussed the need for a Del City Methodist Church. They met with the district superintendent, Robert J. Smith, to consider the possibilities of starting a new congregation in this blossoming territory. An organizational meeting was set for Sunday, May 21st, 1950, in the Del City Elementary School, the only school built at that time. 30 people attended this meeting, and it was determined after a time of talking, praying, and singing, with the first hymn of that Sunday being Holy, 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 everyone agreed on the need for a Methodist church in the area. And along with Superintendent Smith, it was decided this new church would be named Sunny Lane Methodist in honor of one of Oklahoma's original Methodist churches. 36 members were welcomed on that first Sunday, and services for the first year and a half were held in the Del City Elementary School cafeteria. A year later, 176 members were on Sunny Lane's roll.
First, I'd like to say that I'm very blessed to be with Sunny Lane United Methodist Church for 64 years. Sunny Lane isn't a congregation, it's a family. Well, we moved to Del City from Oklahoma City and came to Sunny Lane in 1961. The church service was in what's now the fellowship hall. The current sanctuary was under construction, I believe, about that time. Okay. Because we weren't down there very much longer after we came here. That small fellowship hall was the front of the church. Wow. It was the entire church. And Sunny Lane grew and grew, and we raised our girls here. They were active in Sunday school, Vacation Bible School, MYF. We had a large, many children and youth, I said. We had a large UMW group. You know, they were active in all that. And they were baptized and married here, our girls were. I've been active in UMW all these years, and I sang in the choir under Margaret Buswell and then under Chris Moore. Mm-hmm. And the choir loft, I want to tell you, was full, and we wore our blue robes and our white collars every Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
We went to a recording studio and we recorded 2 CDs at different times. So we have 2 CDs from our choir.
Oh, that's cool.
That we made.
Do you know what year that would have been that y'all did that? That was with Chris Moore, right?
That was after when Chris was here.
Yeah.
We went out north to some recording studio, and that was the song that we sing, Pathway of Hope, was
right.
the man that wrote it was a friend of Chris's, and he wrote it for us. Sunny Lane has always supported all of our local and conference missions, and the UMM the Methodist men were very active. The men roofed the church at one time when it was a small church, and they were on their hands and knees, and they laid the floor tile in the hall all the way up the floor.
Yeah, there were a couple of guys in particular that did that, but I can't remember their names off the top of my head. Do you know
one
who
of
that
them was Irvin Miller, my brother-in-law.
Yeah, okay.
And Herschel Minchell, and all those old guys.
Yeah.
But I'm proudest of our care ministry.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you knew about that, but when Tom Harrison was here, he invited a lady named Maggie Ball. I think her name was Maggie Ball, and she wasn't from the conference, but she was in one of the big churches in Oklahoma City, and they had done care ministries.
Yeah.
And so he invited her out to talk to us about starting a care ministry.
Yeah.
And we had a large group came that Sunday night and listened to her, and she was inspiring and told us all about what we would do and everything. So the very next day, Tom asked me if I would share the care ministry.
Oh, wow, okay.
And not several, but many signed up to be care members, chaplains. And so he began a training session, and we would meet and have kind of a training session in the evenings.
Mm-hmm.
And we made hospital visits and went to operations and emergency runs, and we prayed with the patients, and we sat with the families in the waiting rooms.
Wow.
We followed up care visits and visits to shut-ins and bereavement visits. And at one time we had about 20 on our team.
Wow, that's amazing.
And we were able to, schedule, so many would be on for a week, or if it was somebody they knew and they wanted to go, they would go. But we kept records.
Yeah.
I had a small office. I had a
nice.
desk. And we kept records, and we had a library of those books.
That's amazing.
And we had several clergy that came out of Sunny Lane. The Bible studies, we had Bible studies that filled the fellowship hall. We had Bible studies, and we had lay witness mission revivals, and then when Bert was here, we had, what is that?
Disciple Bible
Disciples.
Study. Yeah.
Yeah, we did Disciple 1 and 2.
Yeah,
So
those are good classic studies
good
for sure.
And we had covenant groups for several years. Maybe there was one that maybe they're still working, that when we went on the walk to Emmaus, there were covenant groups that followed, and we had those in the afternoon or evenings with small groups. But through all of this were the lasting and the meaningful friendships that were formed. Yeah. And that goes back to being a family of God. And so I said we were and we are Sunny Lane family of God. Yeah, yeah. And I am so blessed to have been a part of it.
But just learning about Methodism, this is really, from my perspective, far closer to what Jesus would have if he had a church.
And so I asked my mom, I was like, what year did we actually start coming to Sunny Lane? And she was like, 1995. I thought it was like earlier than, or later than that, but 1995. So Pastor Levi LaGuardia.
Yes.
I don't know. We have so much stories about, he was a great pastor to us, and even just like, just a great person overall. But he started this ministry here in OKC. I just remember him having Bible studies at our house, and it was just like, it just started in our homes, and then we would kind of bring it here at church too, and invite other Filipinos too.
Yeah. This is a funny tale. Not funny for me, but funny for most. One summer in the early 1980s, Sunny Lane had the usual vacation Bible school. For years, I did the kindergarten VBS class. At the particular time I'm talking about, Virginia was either in my class or she had already gone to the first grade. I don't remember. Yeah. She doesn't remember. She was just little, of course. Now this happened on the second floor of the church down at the far east end
Okay.
in what was then the first grade room.
Yeah.
At this particular vacation Bible school, the zoo came and they brought animals.
Oh, fun.
And they took them around and showed them to the kids. And in order to accommodate them, we put like 2 or 3 of the classes together. So not only was Virginia here for this, and she says she has heard me tell it many times, but she doesn't really remember it. But my niece, who had come from St. Louis, who was just younger than Virginia, was also there for this occasion. But anyway, the zoo lady came with a snake. It was in a bag, like a large pillowcase.
Okay.
Probably a firmer
Yeah.
fabric
Yeah.
than that. But we had put a table at one end of the room, and the kids were all seated down at the other end of the room, and the teachers were kind of standing not close to the table, but standing around at the end. Okay, the woman gets the snake out and shows the snake and tells about the snake, and maybe even let the kids come up and touch the snake. I don't really remember that part. But she does her spiel and all is going well. She gets ready to put the snake back into the bag. So she's got the snake in one hand and she's got the bag in one hand, but she can't get the bag open with one hand. So one of the dumbest things I've done in my life, I step up to be the third hand to hold the sack. So she puts the snake down into the bag, all right, once I've helped her get it open. And then the snake comes right up and looks me in the eyes. And I stumble backwards several steps. And everyone is laughing except me. And so that's the tale I wanted to tell.
That's a good one.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because I didn't know if you'd think it was appropriate or not.
Snake charming at VBS.
It happened here in this church.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
So I've been coming here my entire life. All I ever really remember was Sunny Lane.
Yeah.
So
And you taught Sunday school?
I did. I taught senior high Sunday school for several years. That was back, probably 20 years ago now, 20, 25. Well, Mike's kids were in my class at that time. They were in senior high school, and I taught Sunday school. I did youth group on Sunday nights, and we had a teen talk on Wednesday nights, which was my favorite.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What all would you do with that?
Well, what I did was I went to a few courses, of course, with some other members of the church to learn kind of like how to deal with teenagers, because teenagers could be, a little tricky. But we did a lot of stuff, like we'd bring up a subject, just one single subject, and then we'd go around and talk about that one subject for each individual person. It was always something different. It was weird, you could have just one subject about, how do you feel about this or that, and then everybody had an opinion on it, and so then that would spark other conversations. So the whole thing was about trying to have conversations with teenagers.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
how to get everybody to converse with each other.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting. So Teen Talk was my favorite thing on Wednesday nights.
I have been on several mission trips. I have been on, and they were all with my kids. We all went to Mexico. We all piled in the vans and church vans and drove down to Mexico and built houses for people that didn't, the houses they were living in were literally cardboard boxes.
Wow.
Put together, and that's what they lived in. And we were building what I would call a shed in the back of your house for mowers and stuff like that. But that was their going to be their house.
Wow.
It's a life-changing event for your kids, and it was for my kids. Anyways, at the end, we were cleaning up, and all these kids were still kind of mulling around from the neighborhood, and we were kind of trying, okay, we got to get going here. We got to get out of here and go to get ready to go home the next day. And all the kids pile in the vans, and they're all waving and talking to the people and things like that as best they can. And one of the kids noticed none of them had shoes. And all of our kids just started taking their shoes off.
Wow.
And they took every one of them took their shoes off, got out of the bus, and they handed out their shoes.
Wow.
And they were like, okay, this is the least we can do. And so it changed their lives.
Yeah.
I know it did.
I used to drive the church bus. Laura and I joined the church here about 1969 or 1970, somewhere along about that time. And after we had been here a couple of 3 years, we ended up being sponsors of the youth group, along with Don and Kay Brader, and another couple that I can't remember their name because they ultimately moved away somewhere else. And anyway, one of the things that we enjoyed the most was the fact that we were able to take the kids that were in our group on a number of different trips.
Yeah.
Once we took them to Dog Patch, and once we took them up in the Ozarks, and once we took them up to the lake in Missouri.
Table Rock.
Oh, yeah.
Table Rock.
Table Rock, yeah. And as a result of that, I did a lot of bus driving in the Ozarks in an old bus that didn't have much for brakes, that I had to really work on and downshift the axle and downshift the transmission and so forth frequently to keep us on the road.
Oh my gosh.
So we had a lot of fun, and there were some of those kids that ended up taking up the ministry, and there's still one or two that are involved in this church today.
That's awesome.
That we remember quite well.
Now I think we need to hear the skunk story one more time.
Yeah, well, once when we were up on Table Rock Lake, we always tried to have snacks and all kinds of things for the kids, and we had bought this huge big bag of peanuts. And we were all sleeping out. We were sleeping in sleeping bags and just all over, and so forth. And this bag of peanuts, what was left of them, was over by my sleeping bag, and I kept hearing this noise around the sleeping bag, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And I'd kind of been under the cover of my sleeping bag, and I peeked out to see, and there was a skunk right in the middle. So I covered my head up, and I waited long enough till I heard the skunk leave.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
The story I want to tell you is from Vacation Bible School in the early 80s.
Okay.
And during that time, I did the stories. I did the stories.
Like the Bible storytelling.
The Bible stories for the kids.
Yeah.
And they would come in one class at a time, and I'd do them. And I would be in costume.
Oh, nice.
I would be with wigs and beards.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
whatever was necessary. And I always remembered to take off my glasses so that the kids could not, because you don't have glasses on with a beard.
Right.
Okay.
There's no glasses in Bible times.
That's right. No glasses in Bible. No glasses in Bible times. Well, here we go. The first story that week was Moses, and I was telling this story, and I was going through and lots of gestures and all of that, and I came to the part in the story, and in my best Charlton Heston voice, I said, "Let my people go." At which time, a 4-year-old, Cheryl Sparkman, jumped up from her place where she was sitting and said, "I saw your movie." Great. I thought nothing could top that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Later that week, I was Paul.
Yeah.
Same class, same year, same little kids right there, 4-year-olds. And I was, gesturing as I am prone to do, and I'm sure Paul did too. And afterwards, Wyatt Parks came up to me after the story, and he said, Moses has a ring just like this. You gotta be careful when you're talking to little kids as to what they remember. But
it's so funny.
That's my best VBS story.
Yeah, those.
Proud member of Sunny Lane United Methodist Church. Knowing this, I hope that everybody enjoys this church as much as I have. In God we trust. Amen.
I have been affiliated with Sunny Lane Methodist Church since its inception. When I was a teenager or a preteen, I would come visit my brother Graham Beavers and his wife Florence Beavers, who were both charter members. Yeah. And I attended church in Fellowship Hall.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then it was only natural that I would transfer my membership from Garber Methodist Church to Sunny Lane when I became a teacher in Middale Schools in, that would have been 64.
Oh, okay.
64.
Okay.
In the meantime, I had met the love of my life, Bob Cherry, and we were married in the chapel. In the meantime, I had, as Graham volunteered me, become the substitute organist for Margaret Buswell.
Oh, were you really? Okay.
Yes.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, Graham said, "Oh, Virgil, do it." And so I did. And then my children were brought up in this church. They were baptized in this church. And they attended Sunday school and MYF.
Yeah.
They were both acolytes.
All right, yeah.
And when Robbie got old enough, he became the music director. What? And so my children were part of this church too. And I don't know, I think back, and probably the happiest times of my life and the saddest times of my life have occurred at Sunny Lane.
Yeah.
The happiest being when I married Bob and my children were born and then baptized and did all that they did. And then the saddest was when I had to say goodbye to Bob in the same chapel that we were married. And so Sunny Lane, as I say, is part of my family, and I'm part of its family.
When Bart Potts was our pastor, she made the finance committee live by the book of discipline. We had to raise the money to meet the budget. And so selling these Afghans was one of our fundraisers during that time period. And we presented one to Governor Keating's wife, Kathy, for publicity, we hoped, and just to make an overture. So pictured, or let's see, this is right or left. This is Bert, James Finch, Mrs. Keating, Vicki Byers, Lynn Martin, and me, Joe Ellen.
That's so cool.
My husband and I and 2 daughters moved from Guthrie to Del City in the summer of 1955 when we started attending church at Sunny Lane United Methodist Church. Because of construction, we had Sunday school at the high school.
Oh, really?
As a senior or adult class was at the high school next door. We went to the church's fellowship hall for church services. I attended the home builders class years later. I'm still in that class. It's kind of small now. I also remember the church's 50th anniversary when we walked from Del City Elementary to the church on Sunday morning for services.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then my favorite memory is bringing my daughter to daycare, Miss Betty's daycare. It was really good. And sometimes she would be eating breakfast and we'd sit on the stairway while she ate breakfast, and she'd go to Miss Betty's class and I would go to work.
Oh, that's neat.
And everybody liked all the teachers. It was Miss Betty, Miss Mary, Miss Wanda, and Miss Linda. And they were all church members here.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah.
it was a really good daycare. It was good for our family, and it was good for this church.
That's awesome.
And the kids would sleep in the home builder's room.
Who was your favorite Sunday school teacher with home builders?
Probably the mayor of Del City. He was here for years and years and years.
Oh, yeah. What was his name?
Don
Reynolds? Was it Reynolds?
Don Reynolds.
Yes,
Don
yeah,
Reynolds. He was Sunday school teacher for a long, long time.
Yeah, okay, cool.
We had like 60-some people in there, and now I think we have 7 regulars.
Yeah.
So
well, that's all right.
lost a
Y'all
lot of
keep on keeping
members of
on.
this church.
Yeah.
So, but still home builders.
Yeah, well, good.
It's a funny name for us in this part of life.
Right.
But when we were in our 20s and we were home builders,
Yeah, right.
it's a different story.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
hi, it's Michaela Drain, and I am just so grateful for being raised at Sunny Lane United Methodist Church. I know I have a bunch of fond memories of Sandra's Popcorn and being in the band and being in the drama team and in the youth group. And anytime anybody asks me to describe God's love, I always think of Sunny Lane first, because you guys have always welcomed me and my family no matter how we showed up. And we could always find food, we could always find something to do. Anytime we needed to come do that, we could just come to the church. So thank you so much for being my example of God's love in the real world.
Hey, I'm Sandy Mosby. I like to tell people I joined Sunny Lane from before I was born. My mom and dad, George and Margie Cockrum, were members here. They started coming sometime in the 50s. And probably one of my first memories is on Easter. My mom was a big seamstress, and she would make dresses for us. And we, back then everybody dressed up for Easter Sunday. And so that was one thing that I will always remember. I remember being 5 years old in Marjorie Mayhauer's kindergarten class. Later she was Marjorie Melton. She had a beauty shop on Epperly Drive in Del City. She was the first one to cut my hair. And I feel like Art McGrew was probably the person who baptized me. And then, so I remember kindergarten, and then I remember going upstairs where the big kids were for Sunday school. Ina Lane was my second grade teacher. I remember her. Her and June Brannon.
Oh, yeah.
Had second grade, yeah. And then as you got older, you moved on down the hallway. Fast forward to junior high. I was excited to become a member of the junior high MYF. And I remember junior high and high school, we had some wonderful times, lots of fellowship, lots of good memories from there. Kay and Don Brader, John and Laura Waltz were two of our, what do you call them?
Counselors, sponsors, yeah.
Sponsors that that really were the hands and feet of Christ as far as leading us and showing us right and wrong. And we were a bit of a unruly bunch at times, and I won't mention any names because I don't want to indicate anybody, but we had some good times and good memories.
Okay.
Our daughter Morgan was born in '98. She was baptized here. So we have lots of good memories here. Just a little random story that I remember as I'm sitting here. The parsonage used to be on the east side of the church.
Yeah, right next door.
And I remember as a kid, probably junior high age, my dad got me up there to help the Methodist men reshingle the roof.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And at some point, I put a shingle on upside down, but it wasn't discovered until about 3 rows later.
Oh, no.
And so, so the men that were there at that time didn't let me forget that for a while. So, that was fun.
You're real involved with Whiz Kids now, and it's just one of our great programs here. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved with that and why it's so important to you.
Well, I'm trying to think. The first time I was a tutor, I was still working, and I tutored 1 year then, and I liked it, but I could never get here in time for when they started because I was still teaching and couldn't leave my job and get here. So I missed a good part of it, but I saw the importance of it. You know, these little kiddos that are struggling with their reading skills. And so fast forward, I retired and then was a tutor, what's it been, 4 years ago? With Stan and Connie. They were our site coordinators. And then they stepped down and Donna Beavers and I took over. And it's just been a wonderful program. I love seeing the kids gain their confidence in reading. I like hearing the stats when they say that they're making these gains. I mean, it really makes me
too.
Yeah, it's a good program.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of the best things we do. And you and Donna both do a great job.
Well, thank you.
With it. Any favorite memories of longtime members or older folks who either made an impact on you or would tease you or anything like that?
Gosh, there's so many. Alan Jean Stewart.
Yeah.
I remember 1 year the church went to go ice skating, and Mom and Dad didn't want to get out on the ice, but Jean did.
Oh, neat.
And I was probably 5, 6, maybe 7, and she got out on the ice with me and held my hand, and I wasn't very good, but I remember Jean helping me with that. Winnie and Sandy Guest, Herschel and Melba Minchell. Melba was secretary forever up here. Lots of people that really made the church family.
So what was it about Sunny Lane United Methodist Church that you just fell in love with and caused you to stay?
Well, it was friendly. A lot of young families like ours. We had kids, and we were all working families, and we helped each other and babysit for each other's kids, and we had a Sunday school class that was very active, and they'd have parties once a month or something. We'd all gather and do things together. It was just
community.
It's the people, and the older people, were our guides, and they helped us with when we had a problem. They would be there for us, and we owe a lot to this church and the church family that they've had. We've had a lot of share groups.
Oh yeah.
So it's just been like a big extended family because we were 500 miles from our, blood families.
Right.
So and we had 4 kids, and he traveled except on weekends, so they helped us out. And we went on 3 mission trips. To Mexico and various places, and then we
with the youth
and with a group that was just a mixture of people that wanted to go.
Oh, good.
So
we went one with mostly adults and had 2 youth on it, and then that way we know what we're getting into. And then we took 2 youth groups down there to Mexico to build houses for the homeless.
To Juarez.
Progreso.
Progreso, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Nuevo Progreso, just across the border.
So
We'd drive the church van down there, and then we stayed in the church. We'd go to the border, park the van, walk across the border, and that was the town right there.
Oh, okay.
We would walk to our work site.
Wow, that's cool.
I think that a lot of us are making a difference because we've got a lot of retired teachers that have been right around this community through the whole time, and they're showing what the church is like in action.
Yeah.
Just by being themselves and being what I call good Christians.
Right.
They're doing what they may be the only church some of those kids see.
Right. The only Jesus that some of them see. Yeah.
So I think they're still doing that, you know.
Yeah, I think of like Whiz Kids and the tutoring that goes on Tuesdays. It's not just about teaching kids to read. It's about investing in their lives and forming a safe and space for them and a safe relationship between an adult and a child. And that, again, I think is a mutually transformative thing.
My name is Elsa Schultz, and I've been a member of Sunny Lane for many years. Not quite 75, but close. My husband and I, Leroy, joined the church back when the sanctuary was in the fellowship hall. So we got to enjoy a lot of growth of the church being built up, and not only in a new sanctuary, but membership. In the beginning, I was a helper for 5-year-olds with Margie Mayhauer.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And Leroy was a 5th grade Sunday school teacher.
Oh, neat.
And after a period of time, we joined the Home Builders Sunday School class.
Yeah.
And that was a large class. There were about 60 members, sometimes more than that. But Don Reynolds was our teacher, and he had been our teacher for like over 40 years, so he was really great. I remember he let us out early sometimes so that we could get a seat in the sanctuary.
Wow, yeah.
So that was really special. That was a nice gesture, but we enjoyed all the members that we had back then. And
did y'all do class parties and things like that?
Oh yeah, we had lots of parties, and every time there was a holiday, Valentine's Day, and then we did cover dishes, and we had a lot of activity, and we even did we went from house to house, progressive thing.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, we did that. That was fun.
Yeah.
And
did you ever host any of those?
No, I never did.
Yeah.
And then the UMW, the Methodist women, they enjoyed a growth.
Yeah.
We had 11 groups at one time.
Oh, wow.
And I remember when we went to retreat at Camp Canyon.
Yeah.
We had 40 ladies from Sunny Lane. So that was really special.
Oh, that's amazing. When would that have been?
Well, sometime, I don't remember when it was. But it was back in the, I don't know. The years have gone by so fast.
Yeah, I
it's
know,
It's kind of amazing.
It's hard to believe that it's been 75 years of
ministry. 75 years
so.
have gone by really fast. And I was honored not too long ago for having been a volunteer on the reception desk almost 34 years.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So it was Tuesday was my tour of duty, and so I have a lot of good memories of that tour, and it was really special, and I enjoyed it a lot. It was fun working with the different secretaries that we've had, and the ministers always had time to stop and visit. So it was, it was really nice, and it's been a real special time. And I hope, and my prayers are that we continue to get some new members, and that we can grow and be the special church that we've always been, and that I have loved very much.
Oh, me too.
Thank you.
Me too. Thank you. From our humble origins in 1889 to our official organization in 1950, to the build of our sanctuary in the 60s, and the completion of our whole building in the 90s, to today, Sunny Lane United Methodist Church has been a force for good in our community. And by God's grace, we will continue transforming our community for the next 75 years. Let us pray and work towards that end. And may God richly bless us as we strive to live like Jesus, cultivate transformation in our community, and embrace all with God's grace.